The following is a live presentation of Orbit ESPN.
Will represent this city.
Hold up. Listen, man. They cannot hide from us. This is our time. This is our moment.
You can do this.
Just one purpose.
Yeah. One goal. It's here. Bring it in.
It's Monday Night Football. Let's go.
I'm ready for some football. Are you?
Opening night in Washington. Redskin fever as rampant as ever. Ten wins and a playoff victory last year. They aspire to go higher here in 2006. Hi everyone, Mike Tirico, and welcome to the 37th season of Monday Night Football and the beginning of our new era, the first year of ESPN's Monday Night Football. I know I speak for all the women and men on our crew. It is our honor and privilege to carry forward what quite simply is the greatest tradition in television sports history. And it's a thrill to do it with my buddies up here, Joe Theismann and Tony Kornheiser. Now, you guys know this city so well. I mean, you've been a writer here, lived here for a quarter of a century. Yeah. Joe, you quarterbacked Super Bowl 17 for the Redskins successfully, so you know what the Redskin buildup is like every July, every August, and now September. But that expectation level seems to be off the charts this year. Why?
Well, it is simply because they went to the second round of the playoffs a year ago. Now, all of a sudden, you add some wide receivers to the outside. You feel like it has to be better on the offensive side of the ball. But everything with this offense starts with one guy, Clinton Portis. He's the man that has to be able to play well. Weren't sure whether he was going to play tonight. He's going to play a lot of football for him, and he's healthy.
I'm not sure the most important person on offense is a player tonight, Joe. I think it's a new offensive coordinator. Al Saunders came over from Kansas City for over $2 million, and they said, you call the plays. He called every play in preseason. They got no points from the first-string offense. The guy on the hot seat tonight in Washington with his 700-page playbook is Al Saunders.
All right, on the other side, it's Minnesota. 9 wins, a great run, almost got into the playoffs at the end of last year. But in the last 18 months, I mean, everything's different. It's a new owner. It's a new quarterback. It's a new head coach. Even new uniforms for the Vikings. So what do we expect from Minnesota?
Well, first of all, the nice thing about Brad Childress, he inherits a football team that actually had a winning record. All the other 9 of the 10 coaches didn't have that luxury. So here's a guy who has to establish what he wants to do well. That's run the football. But he's not going to be able to do that unless Brad Johnson can stay standing. Protect Brad Johnson. That's going to be the key.
That's the easiest second guess in football. When Brad Childress was named the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, he had an incumbent quarterback, albeit an injured one, Dante Culpepper, a Pro Bowler. Culpepper started making noises about wanting to leave, and Childress accommodated him. Say, I'd rather roll with Brad Johnson. So if Brad Johnson isn't up to it, people will look at Childress and say, what were you thinking?
Are you second-guessing already?
That's my job.
You set the tone. Michelle Tafoya and Susie Kalber are with us as well. The story of Brad Johnson's journey. He returns to his old home tonight. Brunell, a quarterback who's seen it all, but he's seen a lot of new this summer as well.
South Africa's top performers, now playing on ESPN.
FedEx Field. It's a live shot from the Pentagon, one of the places attacked on September 11, 2001. Today, 5 years later, memorial services held there throughout the day, reminders of the pain inflicted and the scars still present. As our attention turns to football, we continue our thoughts and prayers for those who lost on that day and the servicemen and women around the globe protecting Americans so we can enjoy the freedoms like this scene right here tonight. Opening night, 90,000 at FedEx Field. All season we're covered on both sidelines. Susie Colbert covering the Redskins tonight. First, Michelle Tafoya with the Vikings. Michelle.
Mike, in 15 NFL seasons, Brad Johnson has gone from Minnesota to Washington to Tampa Bay and back to Minnesota again. He has gone from backup to starter to injured to Pro Bowler to Super Bowl winner, back to backup and back to starter yet again. And he has loved every minute of the journey. He told me nothing's been handed to me on a silver platter. I have worked for every opportunity I've ever gotten. Well, tonight begins a new opportunity. He has a chance to help rebuild the team that drafted him in the 9th round 15 years ago. Now over to Susie Colbert with the Redskins.
Michelle, the headline for the Redskins is the unveiling of their new explosive offense. Fun for us, but when we asked Mark Brunell how he felt about learning a new offense in his 14th season at almost 36 years old, he said, "It stinks. It's just the bulk." A 700-page playbook. He dedicated most of his off-season to pop quizzes to try to learn the plays. He half-joked that his wife was thinking of leaving him and he hadn't seen much of his kids. And after all of that, he said that tonight there is still some uncertainty as to how it will go. The one thing he does have is belief in a system that he knows can work. Mike, Al Saunders' offense has been #1 in the NFL the last 2 years.
Susie, speaking of one, only one thing left. The debut of Hank Williams and the all-star gathering of his rowdy friends. And then kickoff, all in 60 seconds.
Imagine yourself holding onto a moving rocket as it propels at speeds over 300 miles per hour. With ESPN, you can experience the fastest quarter mile in all of sports. The best in each class. Top fuel, funny car, pro stuff, motorcycles, pushing their machines as fast as the laws of physics will allow. NHRA drag racing on ESPN.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Set at FedEx Field. Hank sounding better than ever. 92,000 American flags. The coaches are set, and so are we. Derek Frost will kick it for the Vikings to Troy Williamson. Minnesota won the toss and will receive. Let the new era begin. Off we go with ESPN's Monday Night Football. Williamson lets it go into the end zone. A touchback for Vikings will start it at the 20-yard line. Brad Johnson out of Florida State turns 38 here in a couple of days. He is the oldest active offensive player in the National Football League. And as he takes the field, he will wait for a moment as we had a Redskin injured right off the kickoff. So one of the Minnesota players came out at one of the Redskins would-be special teams tacklers, and immediately a Redskin on the deck. So that will delay the start of the game here momentarily. Talk about here.
Sometimes you
rough
wonder.
Starts to a season. Gosh.
And Mike, sometimes you wonder about a coin flip, how valuable it is and how important it is. For the Redskins to be able to put their defense out there, the most certain part of their football team has to feel good to them. Of course, the injury's not. But from a Redskin standpoint, you have to say to yourself, this is what we wanted, our defense on the field.
It appears to be Pearson Prelo, who was injured out of Virginia Tech, a backup safety who was in the plans to play some significant time in the secondary for Joe Gibbs' team tonight.
He was going to alternate with Adam Archuleta, who they acquired in the offseason. And Archuleta got a lot of work. Prelo was a guy down the stretch at the end of the year last year that continued to make big play after big play for this Redskin team.
So as they wait, Joe Gibbs watches certainly nervously. 15th season as the Redskins head coach, 3rd year in the second era. Of course, he led the Skins to 3 Super Bowl titles with the 3 different starting quarterbacks. And now as he's come back, coming off that 10-win season last year with the expectations to go higher.
There were some people who said when he came back that the game had passed him by. And in the first season, the record wasn't all that good. But he won the last 5 games of the regular season last year to get into the playoffs and then won a playoff game. And I wouldn't think, Joe, that anybody would say that about Joe Gibbs now.
No, not at all.
Considering they can go find him in Canton if they need to.
If they need to.
Yeah.
Only active NFL head coach in the Hall of Fame. There's Archuleta, the free agent acquisition, and really just takes the steam out of the start of the season. Let's watch the right side of your picture, number 20, Prelo. It did not happen by virtue of contact. And his right leg has been immobilized, and he's being helped off the field. I mean, think about all the work you do all summer, all offseason.
You get to the first play.
And you don't get touched.
And it's a kickoff. Oh, it's a kickoff where you wind up getting yourself hurt.
A lot of guys are happy to get through camp and not get hurt. Anticipate a great season. On the first play, the guy goes down, and you'd have to think out for at least the game.
Well, look at the way he's walking, yeah.
The former 49er Bill and 4-year Redskin comes off. And now Johnson and the Vikings get their first snap of the season from the 20-yard line. And play action right away. Look long, comes back down complete to the 32 to Chester Taylor, a first down. Tight end Jermaine Wiggins introduces us to the Vikings offense.
Here's our starting offensive line, anchored by 4-time Pro Bowler Matt Burke, alongside Big Money Hutchinson and Big Mac. Our starting quarterbacks and wide receivers, 85 needs no introduction, but 15-year vet Brad the Bull Johnson, first-year starter Chester Taylor, and speedy wide receiver Troy Williamson.
Williamson was the 7th overall pick of the draft last year. Johnson looking to buy time, throws for Taylor. Chester can't bring it in. Penalty marker down, back near the line of scrimmage. Veteran, one of the better referees in the National Football League, Mike Carey, working the game here tonight.
And eligible receiver downfield. Offense, number 78. The 5-yard penalty is still first down.
Marcus Washington introduces us to the Redskins defense.
The D-line, these guys are special because they're a close-knit group. They party together, eat together, run together. They don't sleep together because most of them are married. The linebackers, I'm a part of this group, and I love these guys. We're the same way, just a close-knit bunch. Our secondary, they're special because they're one of the hardest hitting secondaries in the NFL.
And 2 players missing for the Redskins in that secondary. Sean Springs out with the abdominal surgery. That's been since early August. And Ronaldo Wynn, former starter at defensive end, he's out tonight with his ankle injury. Chester Taylor takes it across the 30 into the 33-yard line for a first down. So Minnesota has just been poor running the ball over the last 4 years. They go in free agency and get Taylor, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he ran behind Steve Hutchinson, the other guy they went and got on the left side. Chester Taylor gives them a lot of versatility. And the other thing is, there's not a lot of wear and tear on his body. He's been a backup, so you're getting a guy with a lot of experience, not necessarily a player who's worn down.
Hutchinson, 76. All-Pro guard, Super Bowl starter with Seattle. Taylor heads that way again on the cutback. And he's dragged down. Work. Holtzman and Cornelius Griffin combine on the tackle.
I know if I paid $49 million for a guard and I was the running back, I'd make sure to run behind him every opportunity.
Well, the thing about Steve Hutchinson is it isn't all just him. It's going to have to be Bryant McKinney next to him. And a big plus, I think, for the Vikings is getting back Matt Burke, who missed all of last year. He's had 4 surgeries since '04. So they have a pretty good left side.
With Mewelde Moore in as the back. Johnson throws complete to Troy Williamson for the first down at the 45-yard line. So in the absence of Randy Moss or a game changer, who's the guy? It could be Williamson, who caught 24 balls his rookie season.
Comes in from the left side, just works in around the zone. The thing that makes Brad Johnson so special is his anticipation. As Williamson clears the defensive back, the ball's already gone. Very difficult for a defender to react when the ball's already out of the quarterback's hand.
Another play-action toss, nobody open. Johnson throws it away.
This is exactly what Johnson told us the other day. And he talked about being in a crazy situation like a 3rd and 12. But in that situation, he said you always throw the ball away rather than get hurt on some big play. And he's willing to do that. Joe, not all quarterbacks are willing to take bad stats in order to throw a ball away, and he is.
Hey, that's how he won a Super Bowl. I believe 51 times in the year that he quarterbacked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he threw the ball away. They call that managing the game.
A lot of guys force it, though.
Absolutely.
Johnson, one of 6 active Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Gives it to Taylor. He gets it to the 48-yard line with a 3rd down coming up. Philip Daniels and Carlos Rogers help make the stop for the Redskins. Of all the units we're seeing tonight, Minnesota's offense, new coordinator. Minnesota's defense, new coordinator. Redskin offense, you guys talked about at the beginning, new. Washington's defense is continuing what it did last year under Greg Williams. And Brad Childress and his offense, that's what they're going up against. Remember, Brad was in Philadelphia with the Eagles, so he knows all about going up against the Redskins, doing it twice a year in the division. Third and 7 for Williamson. Hauls it in. Troy Williamson to the 6 behind Mike Rumph. And Rumph is one of the guys in the game because of the injury to Sean Springs.
Mike Rumph just gets beat at the line of scrimmage. Troy Williamson, a year ago, was the guy that they said, look, just run down the field and go catch the ball. Well, he ran down the field for 46 yards and caught it. You don't need to protect a quarterback very long to throw these kinds of passes. Gets on top. Luckily gets caught from behind by Mike Rumph, or else it's a touchdown.
From the 7, Taylor goes to that left side. He'll squeeze through to about the 4-yard line. Lamar Marshall, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. Well, Brad Johnson took over last year after Dante Culpepper injured his knee in late October. They were 2-5, struggling. Nothing was right. They were trying to find an offensive identity after Randy Moss was moved to Oakland. Well, Johnson became their identity because he took care of the ball.
Complete resuscitation of his career. He came to Minnesota thinking he'd back somebody up for 3 to 4 years.
Second and goal. Johnson throws incomplete. Saw everything covered. Just put it someplace where he could get rid of it. Philip Daniels' pressure as important on that incompletion as anything else.
The Redskins are going to have to get pressure with their 4 guys up front. That's Philip Daniels, Cornelius Griffin, Joe Salavea, and Andre Carter, a new acquisition. They're the guys that are going to have to get pressure on Brad Johnson because he's not going to hold the ball very long.
Richard Owens in the game as they put a couple of tight ends in. And will run down here with Taylor to the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings.
Boy, that's going right at the heart of the line. You want to take 95,000 people out of a game in a heartbeat? You do what the Minnesota Vikings did. And why do you pay $49 million? Steve Hutchinson, left guard, just creating holes, knocking people out of the way. That's Adam Archuleta. He just buried.
You couldn't even find him when you saw Hutchinson. He was so much bigger than Archuleta.
New kicker Ryan Longwell, the all-time leading Green Bay Packers scorer. The snap is troubled. Kluwe, the punter, is the holder, and he runs to the goal line, but is stopped at the 1. He is learning how to be a holder for field goals. It is somewhat new to Kluwe and unable to convert there. Still a good opening drive. 10 plays and 80 yards, and the Vikings on the board. 6-0.
You want game? This fall, ESPN Game Plan has up to 150 extra college football games. Key matchups and rivalries from major conferences. All available when you order your exclusive ESPN Game Plan pay-per-view package. It's maximum college football.
Get full access to live college football games online with ESPN's Game Plan. To order Game Plan, go to ESPN.com and search Game Plan.
Hey, Maria.
Hey, Stu, what's up?
A supplier gave me these, and I figured, you know, if anybody could use them, you could, right?
Yeah, so giant worms can spring into my face. Nice try.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, Maria. I was just trying to be thoughtful. You know what? Forget it. Whatever.
I'm so sorry, Stu.
Yeah, I mean...
I just thought... You're evil.
Can I get that can back?
Chester Taylor runs it in 6-0 Minnesota. Not 7 because of the botch snap.
Because I'm a big believer in letting quarterbacks be holders. The snap is perfect. You've got a guy who's learning on the job. This is not the place to learn how to hold. You learn how to hold in high school or college. You don't learn to hold at this level if you haven't done it before.
Longwell to kick. James Thrash. Blocked Cartwright back for the Redskins. It is Cartwright from the 10. Brought down at the 25-yard line. So after the Jason Glenn tackle, Washington takes the field. And we'll see how soon we see Clinton Portis test the shoulder.
South Africa's top performers now playing on ESPN.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. GMC, we are professional grade. IBM, what makes you special? And Walmart, always low prices, always.
As part of the remembrances of the 2001 terrorist attacks, those were scenes from the Freedom Walk yesterday. More than 400 family members and friends of those who perished at the Pentagon 2001, plus thousands of citizens walking down the mall to the Pentagon for their remembrances.
Tony, here comes your answer to the $2 million offensive coordinator change.
You bring a guy in and you tell him to call the plays. You expect some fireworks pretty early on, considering there were none in preseason.
And executing them, the veteran Mark Brunell, drafted by Green Bay, starred in Jacksonville. High expectations this year in Washington. First down, first throw. Santana Moss in flight to the 48-yard line. Gain of 23. Nice block from Liddell Betts.
Didn't see that in preseason, did
not. I'm pretty happy tonight because I've got Santana Moss in fantasy leagues playing tonight. So I feel pretty great about that first play, Joe.
Terrific job by the outside guys creating a lane. Now it became a punt return as soon as he cleared the line of scrimmage.
And as you heard on Monday Night Countdown before the game, Dwight Smith, the starting safety, is out for Minnesota, not injured, but deactivated, likely disciplinary reasons. Thus, you've got to watch what happens in the secondary for the Vikings. Brunell swings it out to Betts. The fifth-year back out of Iowa gets just a yard. John Jansen, the offensive lineman, introduces us to his Redskin teammates.
We'll start up front with Pro Bowl left tackle Chris Samuels. He's gone to 3 Pro Bowls. We'll move over to our right guard, Randy Thomas, probably one of the best right guards in football. Then we'll switch over to our playmakers. We got Mark Brunell going into his 14th year. That's right, 14 NFL seasons. We got Santana Moss coming off a terrific year in which he went to the Pro Bowl. And who could forget a great addition in Brandon Lloyd.
Acquired via trade from the 49ers. No Portis yet, but Betts jumps through the hole, crosses midfield. A third and about 5 coming up.
Here's Al Saunders, brought in from Kansas City to call plays. Joe Gibbs in the Hall of Fame as an offensive guy not calling plays. Gave it over to Al Saunders. He said, Joe Gibbs said, for the good of the team. Paying this guy over $2 million. He's been very successful in Kansas City. But again, no points by the first team in the preseason. Though, Joe, I know you think preseason doesn't amount to much.
Doesn't mean anything.
Well, the Redskins in 4 snaps have shifted more here tonight than they have all preseason. Very vanilla through August. Third down throw is hauled in by Antoine Randall. His first catch of the Redskin for the first down against the defense led by Viking safety Darren Sharper.
Now introducing the new Viking Purple People Eater defense. The defensive line, you always have to be strong up the middle and have those guys that can come off the edge, and we definitely have that. Our linebackers, playmakers in themselves, guys who are in the proper position and know how to make plays. Secondary, guys that have a lot of experience, and we call ourselves a ball hawking secondary, and that's what makes us great.
Put it in the hands of Randall L., who caught the last one, now runs to the 35-yard line to pick up a 5 on first down. And here's Michelle Tafoya.
You mentioned, Mike, Dwight Smith deactivated. This is a disciplinary move by Brad Childress going back to August 26th when Smith was cited for indecent conduct in a Minneapolis hotspot stairwell with a 26-year-old young woman. Now, it was, again, just a citation for indecent conduct, but this is part of Brad Childress's culture of accountability this he's instilling in Minnesota. He was going to draw the line right there, Mike.
And making a statement in a key spot here on opening night. 2nd and 6. Brunell steps up, takes off. Not the scrambler that took Jacksonville to 2 AFC championship games, but he still has enough wheels to get it done. First down.
That sideline, Michael, had to look like it was 4 miles away. So he just decided he was going to go so far. Play action, hole opens up, he takes off. That sideline looks like it's getting further and further away. Knows where he has to get to be able to get the first down. Now, here's a guy who rushed 42 times last year for 111 yards, so he can run. He just got to be careful he doesn't pull something or a few things.
From the 30, Betts waits for the block, only gains a yard. SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Here's Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. Last year, those Redskins knocked out of the playoffs by the Seahawks. Today, the Seahawks added a receiver. They acquired Deion Branch to hold off from the Patriots. Branch wasn't going to go back to New England. And now the Patriots have asked the league to look into tampering charges against the Jets as it pertains to Branch. Chiefs say they hope Trent Green out of the hospital Tuesday. A source close to Green says he'll likely be gone at least the next 2 games. He has a very, very severe concussion. SportsCenter follows the next game. Mike?
That's right, Carl. Doubleheader here tonight. We all send our best wishes to Trent as well. Betts on the toss. 8 of 5. We'll have 3rd and 5 coming up.
Let me go back to the point that was made about Dwight Smith sitting down for disciplinary reasons. There's a commitment to character, and it is spelled out in Minnesota. In the media guide, it says the Vikings move into the future with a focus on character. Brad Childress said, direct quote, "We want good people who are good players in that order." They were the most scandal-ridden team in the entire NFL last year. They had 2 more this year with Corin Robinson and Dwight Smith, and they're acting on Dwight Smith. That's a pretty courageous thing because you follow up what you say you believe in.
But Robinson, the receiver, has agreed to terms with the Green Bay Packers just within the last couple of hours. Third down, Brunell throws complete to Moss. First down at the 16.
Michael, when you watch Mark Brunell run this offense, you get a sense of this guy having been around and knows exactly where everything is. Here comes the blitz up the middle, gets it out of his hands very quickly. I know Susie talked about the ability of this guy to have to study so much and comprehend so much in his 14th year, but I think those 14 years of experience are really helping him.
Inside, Ray Edwards helping out on the tackle. You want some perspective on the explosive nature of Santana Moss, in addition to how you could just ride him for a while. He caught 84 balls, averaged 17.7 per catch. We haven't seen those kind of levels of number of catches and yards per catch, but twice in the league in the same season. Stanley Morgan and Jerry Rice, the incomparable Jerry Rice, 19 years ago. The hand from the Redskin fans. The debut of Clinton Portis with the injured left shoulder, alone in the backfield for second down. Fans rising in anticipation that he'll get it. He does. Takes that first big hit. Hasn't taken one since the injury in the first preseason game for about 6 yards. It was a partial dislocation of the left shoulder. Happened on the 8th play of the preseason opener against Cincinnati, tackling Kewan Ratliff as the Bengals defensive back was making a return, and Portis was just so disgusted being in there in preseason and getting hurt so early in the preseason.
But he's come back medically at a state where they feel like that there are no medical limitations at this point. Coach Gibbs sat and talked to the doctors, talked to his medical staff, and physically they feel like he's ready to go.
3rd and 5, and Brunell needed to take a timeout. So the Washington starting offense in the red zone for the first time this year, because they didn't get there in the preseason.
September 11, and on this day in 1935, Hayden Bunton, one of the greatest Australian footballers ever, won a record 3rd Brownlow medal. The medal is awarded annually to the best and fairest players in the Australian Football League, as adjudged by the field umpires. Also on this day, world champion distance runner Qiu Zhanjie smashed the 1,500 metres record at the Chinese National Games in Beijing. Her time of 3 minutes 50.46 seconds was 2 seconds inside the previous best time, which had been set 13 years previously. September 11 was also the day 2 rally drivers and a television cameraman ended up in hospital after a spectacular accident during the Australian Rally Super Series in Tasmania. Amazingly, the cameraman suffered only a bruised shoulder, whilst the driver of the car broke his arm and his co-driver suffered concussion.
South Africa's top performers now playing on ESPN.
The hard-hitting action of the NFL continues on ESPN. The San Diego Chargers begin their march to the top when they face the silver and black attack of the Oakland Raiders. Next, the NFL on ESPN.
Tony, he is here, and you're welcome in the booth via email. Submit your questions for Tony, NFL.com or ESPN.com's Monday Night Surround. We will answer some of your questions.
Let's just try and make them funny.
No, we won't answer.
Let's try and make them funny.
We won't answer.
He will.
I will answer.
We're just here listening to him.
Then I will turn to you and say, can you top this?
I'll tell you, the Redskins are trying to top what Minnesota did on their first drive.
Out of the Washington called timeout, this is 3rd and 5 with Portis in motion. 5 receivers to throw to. Portis has it, but he is shy of the first down. A nice hit by E.J. Henderson, a linebacker who was maligned last year, did a nice job in the preseason, and a field goal attempt coming for the Redskins.
Just the simple fact that Clinton Portis is going to take a hit is important because he's got to find out where he is. Now, he is wearing a harness. You see that wrap on his left shoulder? That's part of a harness around his left tricep there. That's part of a harness to help hold that shoulder in place. And they don't want it flying around.
If he doesn't know where he is, we're all in trouble because he's on the field.
27-yard field goal attempt for John Hall. Didn't look pretty, but bangs it through. And Washington responds to the 80-yard Minnesota drive with 66 yards and a field goal.